Welcome back. Now, India is one of the countries hardest hit by COVID-19, but it seems things are picking up there. The country has reopened its border to foreign tourists. South Africans, however, are still not allowed to visit. For more on this, eNCA India correspondent Rebecca Bundhun joins us now from Mumbai. Thank you very much, Rebecca, for your time. Now, are other BRICS partners part of this A-list?
Yeah, so India's released this, what it calls a Category A list, which includes 99 countries, and travellers from those countries now don't have to quarantine on arrival in India. Now, this list includes countries like the UK, United States, countries in Europe, even several African countries, including Nigeria. But South Africa isn't on this list. The criteria for this list, India says, is countries that recognise India's vaccine certificate, that aren't making travellers go through quarantine. So it seems that South Africa it should actually be on this list, but it isn't. But if we look at the other BRICS countries that are or are not on the list, Brazil is on this list of 99 countries in the Category A, and Russia is also on there. China is not. Now, there are other countries. There's a separate list which India says are countries that are at risk, and that includes South Africa, but it also includes countries that are on this list of 99 countries as well. So, for example, Brazil is also in the at-risk category, and so is the UK and Singapore, which are also on the Category A list. And it just means that those countries, when travellers come from there, they have to go through some additional procedures. They'll have to have a test after they arrive in India. But it seems to be quite interesting that South Africa hasn't made onto this list, onto the Category A, although the government here says that this list is subject to change, so this could change at any time.
I think it is interesting for us as South Africans, especially when you look at how we've been able to handle our waves, all the way from the first wave to the third wave. We've been able to handle it, and some experts would say that we've been able to handle our waves better than India. So this has nothing to do really with how we've been handling our waves. Does it have to do with the fact that the South African government has been warning of a fourth wave, maybe?
It's possible, really, because India has put it on that at-risk category. But then there are other countries as well that are experiencing significant numbers of cases, yet they are still on the Category A list. So that does raise this question. Yes, of course, India has been through that massive second wave itself, and that really did have a devastating effect on the country. So many deaths, also it battered the economy. But India really now, at this point in time, is trying to open up quite significantly to tourists. From the 15th of November, it opened up all visas, tourist visas for all international travellers. So it's really trying to get its travel industry back on track. So it definitely is quite puzzling in some ways as to why South Africa has been excluded. I have put this question to authorities to try to get some clarity on this, but I haven't as yet had a response.
Rebecca, do we know, for instance, how many people in South Africa would ordinarily travel to India? We have a lot of people who, for instance, are here because of work and are actually from India, for instance. Do we know that type of relationship between ourselves and them in terms of travel?
Travel between South Africa and India is significant. It's not one of the main source markets of tourists, but it's still an important source market of tourists and travellers, people travelling back to see family in India, for example, people visiting on holiday. The flows between the two countries in the past have been significant. But this is, I mean, this does limit, of course, the travel between the two countries. Now, we have to remember at the same time that there's still basically an international ban here on travel on flights, scheduled flights, unless they are part of the air bubble agreement. So the number of flights coming into the country are quite limited unless they're charter flights or as part of those that air bubble agreement. But we might see these rules change within the coming weeks. They do seem to be changing all the time.
Rebecca, just before I let you go, could this possibly, put in question our relationship between South Africa and India, especially when you look at the fact that when India was going through its second wave, which, a lot of people would say was its worst, South Africa did not close its borders to India. And in fact, India contributed to our third wave. We didn't close our borders to India until it was very late. So could this be something that the other government probably views as a stab in the back and, questions the relationship between the two countries?
That's a very interesting question, and people must be asking about this now. And we've seen this quite a lot through this pandemic and through these travel relaxations that have taken place across various countries. For example, the UK and India basically got into a row over vaccine recognition, and finally the UK did recognise India's vaccines and is now allowing travellers to come into the country. But that was really caused quite a sticking point. It was quite a blow to the relationship between India and the UK at that point in time, but then it eventually got sorted out. So it seems that these things are, they are works in progress, and things do eventually get sorted out. But it does obviously raise concerns, and authorities, quite understandably, often get quite upset if they feel that they're being treated unfairly when it comes to travel and vaccine recognition. And India's been through that itself, so it knows that all too well. So perhaps there will be discussions over this. And as I mentioned, these rules do continuously, they're updated, they're changed, so perhaps something will be sorted out. That remains to be seen.
Thank you for your time. Let's leave it there for now. That is eNCA India correspondent Rebecca Bundhun.